Heyo, Fairlaw Organs, Open Lungs here. Today I want to talk about a little indie game I stumbled upon. I found this game just like how many people discovered the greatest of video games, Humble Bundle. Yeah, I know Humble Bundle usually puts the man to mediocre bundles, but every now and then they have something in their bundles that actually is promising. And that can be said for the subject of today's video, Metal Unit. Metal Unit is a roguelike game where you play as Joanna, a hard-haired girl who wishes to atone for her sister's sins against humanity, who has rebelled against the counteroffensive, an organization whose main goal is to eliminate the Garou, a bunch of monsters who came out of nowhere and started attacking humans for some reason. So you slash and shoot your way through a series of randomly assorted levels, using a variety of different kinds of weapons at your disposal. And as far as the gameplay goes, it's fun to just zoom around through enemies, eliminating them with ease when you have collected a full set of legendary weapons. Although you are able to collect these kinds of weapons a little too frequently as the game progresses, which makes the game a whole lot easier, because if you have all the legendary items and a bunch of potions, it's like you're playing on God mode almost. But the game actually is kind of challenging at some points. I mean, it's no Dead Cells, but the amount of enemies that gang up you out of nowhere makes for some pretty annoying deaths as you lose your best gear, making it so you have to go with any spare gear that you have, which is most likely not as good as the stuff you just lost, which makes making a comeback kind of hard. The visual appearance of this game is probably its best asset, with its detailed pixel art style being one of the main highlights of the game. I mean, it's certainly a pleasure for the eyes, and I'm not just talking about the character designs. And now we must move on to one of the biggest sins of the game, the story. Now, normally when there is a story in a roguelike game, it's not clear, it's subtle, making the player have to put all the clues together of why you're there and your reason for doing what you're doing. Dead Cells does a good job of this and sets up the world where you start to understand everything going on with the little information you have. Now, Metal Unit, on the other hand, has too much information that you don't know what's going on. The story is all over the place, and some characters that seem integral to the plot are actually presented but never show up again. Although the story actually does have some intriguing elements to it, like the battle between humans and the Garou and discovering the monster's origins. Also, some of the twists in the game, even the ones you can't see coming, fit and engaged me throughout the game. The cutscenes too were very fun to watch, with all the pixel art on the screen. It was just amazing. Unfortunately, these moments can't save the overall convoluted story, but it does prove that this game has potential. It's not a typical thing to have a story with cutscenes in a roguelike game, but I think with the right direction, Metal Unit could pull this off. I enjoyed my time with the game and would recommend it to anyone interested in roguelike games. That is, if you're okay with anime designs and anime stories, because if you're not into that, then I don't think the art style or the highlights of the story will interest you. For the rating, I'll give it a C+. It was fun to play through. I could see myself coming back to it, even with its flaws. That's all I gotta say, really. See you in the next vid.